everybody, and welcome to a brand new Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Mythos Collective. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Guys, today we're talking about something pretty dope. Okay, now all you guys know who are my fans and who've been following me that I've done my DNA testing with 23andme.com, and I found out that I am mostly African, obviously, and I also have some European, some Asian, just pretty much all around the globe because my family was freaky. And it's really significant. I told you the significance of why I did it, and I'll even link it up here above. Go take a look at it if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, I might link it somewhere. But anyway, I did the DNA testing, and it was so super significant, and it was a lot of fun to do. But 23andMe actually came out with a brand new update. And as you saw from the title of this video and from the thumbnail, ladies and gentlemen, I have something to tell you. Before I get into that, DNA testing of late has been so significant into opening a window to people who otherwise would not have had any window to look through into their past. People have found out that they have brothers that they didn't know about, sisters they didn't know about. They found out that they got fathers and mothers that they've never met, and cousins and great people that they didn't know they were related to. They now have that information. So 23andMe, Ancestry.com, and all these other websites have been doing a great service to the community of planet Earth, and for those who are fortunate enough to do these tests to get a deeper insight into their past and into who they are. Now, speaking about who they are, a lot of them are African Americans, such as myself, who other than a few years ago had no idea where our ancestry came from. As you all know, slavery played a huge part in African American history, and of course that's one thing we all are taught growing up. But I'm here to tell you that there is more to our history than just slavery. 23andMe came up with an update. They had been doing some archaeology work, and they were actually testing some mummies from a lot of different cultures, Asia, Africa, and Europe. And they actually ended up testing a very important mummy by the name of Pharaoh Ramses III. Now, Pharaoh Ramses III, you guys are like, Pharaoh? You mean like the king of Egypt? Yes, one of the kings of Egypt, Pharaoh Ramses III. And they did the testing some years ago, and 23andMe actually ran a lot of people's DNA against this test. Come to find out, I am in the lineage of Pharaoh Ramses III. I'm royalty, baby. I'm royalty! Bow before your king. So we're gonna get into it. I'm really happy about this because there's a lot of significance behind it. So let me break it down for you. I'll be putting up graphics so you can get a gist of what I'm talking about. So boom, here it is. Pharaoh Ramses III. You share an ancient paternal lineage with Pharaoh Ramses III. They give a little bit of history. Pharaoh Ramses III defended Egypt in 3 consecutive wars during his approximate 30-year reign. Blah, blah, blah. Really great. There's some history behind Pharaoh Ramses III I'll get into later, but let me just explain all this to you first, right? You know, so that's all well and good. Moving forward, you got, let's see, you got this one right here. However, a CT scan of Ramses III mummy revealed a deep slit in his throat. He was killed. Like I said, we'll talk about his history in a minute. Anyway, right here, you'll see it. I'll highlight it. You and Ramses III share an ancient paternal line ancestor who probably lived in North Africa or Western Asia. Basically meaning me and Pharaoh Ramses III, as well as a part of my family, share lineage with him and whoever came before him. So let's dig into that. Let's go a little bit deeper so you all understand what's going on here. So this graphic right here I'm showing you is the genetics of paternal haplogroups. Haplogroups are just an explanation of chromosomes that go through history. Basically, everyone has DNA, but in particular the Y set of chromosomes is passed down from father to son. So me and Pharaoh Ramses III share this particular Y chromosome, which is super important. It suggests that throughout history, men kept having sons and so on and so on and so on. And from my grandfather to my dad to me, we all share this Y chromosome from Pharaoh Ramses III. Okay? And this graphic right here just shows you basically what that looks like, as I explained, from grandfather to son, which is me, and to my son if I have one. It'll all show throughout our DNA, okay? Now, the question you might be asking is, well, What's the significance of all this? Why are you so excited? As I explained earlier, in black culture in America, African Americans, we are always taught that we are just the lineage of slaves and we're nothing significant, just a bunch of people that ended up on this country's soil by way of slavery, blah, blah, blah. The reason why this is significant to me in particular is because it shows you that the deeper we dig into our history and into our culture, shows you and me and everyone else who's watching that we're not just sons and daughters of slaves. We're sons and daughters of royalty. Real life royalty. Okay? This is encouraging in a lot of ways. But firstly, before I get into that, let's talk for a second about who Pharaoh Ramses III was. Okay? Everybody knows pharaohs weren't always the best people to hang around. Pharaohs a lot of times enslaved people, and especially Pharaoh Ramses III, he had a few concubines that he liked to sleep with and imprison. So he wasn't the best person in the world. And quite honestly, I'm probably a lineage of one of those concubines. You know, there's that. And also, at the end of his life, he was also killed by one of his wives. They ended up slitting his throat. So, I mean, we're not sitting here saying that he was the best guy in the world, but he was royalty, and that is super interesting to know about. Moving forward, I think the reason why this is significant especially is because when you think about who you are as a person, when you think about where you've been, how many times you've been ready to give up and just throw in the towel, I think to understand that you came from a lineage of people who fought for you, who fought for their children and their children's children. If you understand that before you give up, before you stop doing what you're doing, before you decide, I don't want to even be here anymore, I think it's significant for us to dig into our past and find out that people really fought throughout history just so we could be where we are today. Yes, slavery, and because I'm black, and I'm sure if you're watching, maybe you're black, slavery was a huge part of African American culture. It was a huge part of why we are here today. And if some apologists were to ask, they would probably say that if it weren't for slavery, we wouldn't be here. And in some respects, that's true. But go further back into our history and you'll learn that if it weren't for our royal ancestors, if it weren't for them fighting for their people, their kingdom, their civilization, we wouldn't be here either. We shouldn't just look at the poor and sad and lonely parts of our history. We should also look at the really exciting and the triumphant parts of our history. To look at our slave ancestors and say, when they were in Africa, they weren't slaves. They were free. They were people. They had lives and families. And go further back into that history. Forget the fact they were put on ships and brought over here. Let's think about who they were before they became slaves. That's the part we need to be excited about as African Americans. And even if you're white or Asian or Hispanic, just think about who you are, what you're made up of, and what your blood says about you. Your DNA comes from many people, whether they were slaves or whether they were slave owners, whether they were great warriors, whether they were great seamstresses or politicians or whomever, even criminals. We have to understand that our past makes up who we are, and without it, we would not be where we are today. I can't be held accountable for anything King Ramses III did, and I'm sure you can't be held accountable for anything your ancestors did either. And I think what's important to understand is that we are all here because of them, and without them we wouldn't have a platform to speak on and we wouldn't have any words to say. The point of this video to me is to show anybody out there that regardless of how you feel or whether or not you're ready to give up or you're just tired of life, understand that you had a whole heap of people fighting for where you are today, fighting to live and to make sure they had a lineage. At the end of it, I can't help everybody, and I'm sure this video won't help everybody, but hopefully watching this will get you excited to learn a little bit about who you are. Use 23andMe. I advocate for it because, my God, I used it and it was amazing. It opened a window to my life that I didn't know was even available to look through. As well as my father and my cousins and my aunts and uncles, they are all watching me explore who I am, my DNA, and a window into who my ancestors were also. Yes, it is extremely exciting to know that I am lineage to royalty, African royalty. And even with that information, I have to understand that although I may be African royalty, although I may be lineage to African royalty, and to King Ramses Pharaoh III, I have to understand that I'm still a person, a normal person. And whatever lineage I leave behind, whoever comes next after me, I have to set an example and set the tone for them. So it's extremely exciting, guys. And hopefully, like I said before, you take a look into your DNA, take a look into your life, into your ancestry, figure out who your grandfather was and his father, your great-grandmother and her mother, and just keep digging deeper. Because I feel like if we open these doors to our past, we're going to learn so much more about our present, and we're going to be able to teach more to our children when we have them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It's a continuation, guys, of my other DNA video, so make sure you go check that out. And hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it helped you. And if you just, please, go to 23andme.com. Go take a look into that window that I've been talking about, into your ancestry. I promise you will not regret it. Unless you find out, like, you're relatives to, like, Adolf Hitler or something like that. Then you'll probably end up regretting it, but I mean, it's still fun to learn. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And no, 23andMe is not a sponsor of this video. I wish they were. Think about what kind of sponsor. That would be great. Like, they should definitely sponsor me because I'm out here. Like, first of all, let's get something straight. I've been selling this product for like the last year and a half. Like, their sales went up maybe 0.1% because of my videos. Just saying. So 23andMe, if you're watching this, yo, hit a brother up. I use 23andMe and I found out that I'm actually African royalty from a pharaoh. So like, you should definitely want to interview me or something. Whatever. I'm not gonna press this issue. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do. The Mythos Collective, please. That'd be great. Thanks. And I got some cool stuff happening soon, like really, really cool stuff happening soon, and some vlogs that I'm excited to make. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great day and a better tomorrow. God bless. I'll see you all later.